Today I'm in my local nature reserve and I'm going to paint this scene, this amazingly fallen tree here, lots of interesting shapes, and I've got some water to do there. I could do that, that'd be quite challenging. And as you can see, I'm all set up with my tripod easel. Just have a little swing round and show you exactly where I am. It's a pretty amazing place, this nature reserve. Painted here before, but in watercolour. So today it's going to be in oil. And here, I'll show you my palette, what I've organised. You can see the different colours here. Let me zoom up a little bit for you. On the bottom left here, white, titanium white, cerulean blue, ultramarine, Naples yellow, yellow ochre, raw sienna, burnt umber, olive green there, sap green, and phthalo green, very powerful green. I'm going to use a touch of that. And then I've got the violet on the end, and a little bit of leftover red, cadmium red, and crimson alizarin. So I'll sketch it out and then come back to you, otherwise this video will be rather long. I've gently mapped out my main darks, my darkest darks, just on this left side here. And there's a big fallen tree here. So I've got to try and get this form right. There's a huge amount of trees and boughs and branches going here. So I will start to get on that. But I'm just trying to establish my darks. I must keep the darks, otherwise my lights won't show up. So I'll press on a little bit and then come back. Well, you can see I've put in some of the main beams. You have to do a little bit of editing, there's so much here. I have to decide what ones I'm going to put in. So you have to try and simplify it somewhat. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Obviously lots of detail to put in, but I think I've probably got as many limbs in as I should at this point anyway. I'll put the finer ones in with a smaller brush as we go. Just looking at my picture here, yes, I think I need to get a lot more of the fine branches coming in here. But we can deal with that in a moment. And of course this foreground, we've got a bit of water down here. And put a bit of green and sort of greeny. We can make that more realistic as we go. I'm going to wipe my brush off, getting some wrong colours there. But I've got some phthalo green and a little bit of umber, burnt umber. So I think we could, it's a bit too dark. We need to put a bit of titanium in there. Can mix it on the panel or on your palette. It's coming down here. Should I show a little bit out there perhaps? And in the foreground I've got to get the mapping some greens, so I think I'm going to do a bit of a wash with a bigger brush to get some colour going in there. Help me judge where I've got to go. So I've got some sap green here and some odorless mineral spirit. So I'll map that in fairly lightly at the moment. It's a lovely day today. 26 degrees right now, but I'm in the shade, so it's not too bad. Just a thin wash here. This is some sap green with odorless mineral spirit. Got to vary the greens as we go. But to say this is a rough mapping really at this point. I've got lots of reeds. I don't want it too bright in the background, so I'll add a bit of titanium white to tone that down. Actually, there is a bit of sky showing there, so I don't think we'll go up there for the moment. Let's just get some greens in. Bring the sky down to about here when we get to that. There is light poking through the trees. This is a very bright day today, but there's a lot of shade, of course, from these trees. But I must try and capture bits where you can see the shadow going across my palette there. That makes it trickier for you to see and for me to judge the colours as well. But all part of the fun of plein air. This is I do this in a sort of fairly loose manner. It's not absolutely accurate to what I see, but I've selected elements of the scene. It just suits my purpose, really. We're going to get sort of different yellows in here as well. So I've got a bit of cadmium yellow can give me some. There's lots of nettles, the usual thing you see this time of year. Let's get some brighter yellow, brighter greens. And in the foreground I could probably try and do some suggestion of the form that the nettles take. So you don't do every one, of course, on your scene. That would be impossible. You just select some of those in the foreground that are close. Then the viewer can look at that and their imagination fills in the rest for you, actually. Strange as it may seem. So I've got to squint my eyes and see where I need to be darker. It's much darker down here. This little creek here. I've got some sap green again, a little bit of ultramarine. Make a sort of darker color under here. Let's get that old tree right as well. It's a great big trunk, actually. Substantial tree. It's got little bits of light showing still. So I've left a little bit there, and there are little holes in the tree. This tree in the distance here, the middle distance, not the far distance. And this big tree, I'll try and get some of that texture on later. My brush stroke, I'm trying to get some shape to this tree. So you see it sweeping round. And this one too. And there's a lot of trees out here. As this is all wet paint, I have to lay the paint on fairly gently. This is wet on wet, really. All in one session I'm doing this. Alla prima, as it's called. All in one session. So, a little light touch. I've got to wipe my brush regularly as well. Otherwise you smudge everything else and the paint that you've laid down become muddy. So gently does it. Right, how's it coming along? Yes, as I say, I noticed as the clouds pass and the trees wave in the wind, it's crossing the palette, so perhaps you're not seeing it as clearly as I'd like you to, but there you go, that's the way it is. But I'll take some pictures of it. And here, just try and flick up with my brush, show some of the weeds. Trying to get that tree behind there. That's darker. I'll try and get some form into that a bit later. And this one to the front here is nearer and a little lighter. So we'll see if we can suggest it here. It's catching a light actually on that edge. And this limb here, this fallen one, it's got quite a lot of light playing on it now. So let's try and capture that. Comes off like this. And these on this side are catching light as well. There's this one here. Getting quite a lot of light. Some of these here as well. And this big one here. Light there. Right, well I'll stop there for a moment and press on a little bit and then come back. Well, as you can see, I've come on quite a bit in this painting and put in the blue of the sky, some cerulean, a little bit of texture in the foreground here to try and create the sense of all the weeds and wildflowers. But I've introduced a bit of light into here because there's a sort of glade. I'm in a bit of a glade really. And so what I've done is I've got some Naples yellow, a little bit of titanium white, a little bit of ochre, yellow ochre, and try to suggest some of the dappled light that is falling here. Just a little light touch. And I've still got to put lots of detail. Here on this, there's light is coming through onto this fallen beam. So I'll put some of that lighter colour there to try and suggest it. Say there's such a tangle of old boughs that it's tricky to know which ones to go for. You've got to try and simplify a little bit, which is what I've done. This one too, I need to put a little bit of light colour on there. It's darker down the bottom here. I think I'm going to put some more branches in there. I've filled in this middle ground with a little bit of lighter green. It is quite light there, it's getting some sun. So I think if I put some finer branches in, that might tighten it up a little bit. So I think I'll press on with that. I need to get a fine brush, load it up very well with paint, and then just slide it down over these boughs. So I think I'll press on and do that, and I'll come back to you shortly. Well, I've mixed a dark colour with burnt umber, ultramarine blue, and I have used a little bit of ivory black mixed in. Don't usually use black, but I need something to make these stand out against the sunlight. So I'm going to just hopefully lightly touch a few boughs coming in. It's kind of tricky. Don't want to come off my brush too easily, so I have to just lightly touch. Define the form some more for these branches. A lot in here as well, in the middle distance here. Need to make that one a little more prominent. I'm using a little bit of liquid here, which helps the paint dry and flow off your brush a little better. So I'll try and do that. Yes, that's a little bit better. Yes, I think that's it. Very tricky. I've got some random sticks and logs, branches that have fallen. Try and give them something. Right, how are we looking? To give this branch, this bough a little bit of form, so I'm sweeping it round to suggest its curve, and also some of these need to be more defined. This is something I can do back in the studio, where you can take your time. But this is a plein air study, which tends to be usually quicker. So you don't have quite the time to deal with all the absolute detail. But I think under this these on the dark side of these boughs. I gotta make sure they're darker. And this whole tree, which is snapped, fractured, it's got lots of little areas where it would be a delight for the owls and other wildlife, I'm sure. Under here it's a bit darker and there's a bit of water there as well. So it's all silted up, muddy. And let's get some dark under there to suggest the dark. This bough, this is the shaded area here. Actually, there's more leaves and boughs here, which I can suggest perhaps. Define these a little bit better. How's that coming off? Got to have plenty of paint. Roll the brush. Oh, there's a big lump there, we don't want that. So twirl the brush a little bit. Nope, that's not coming. Yes, that's a bit better. Right, let me think. It's taking shape. I think perhaps I need to stipple in some foliage. All those branches, they look a little bit barren, and it is summer now. So I need to deal with that. So let's clean off the brush. And get some summer green. So I've got some sap green. Oh, that's too much of a lump there. Sap green. And then we'll put some cadmium yellow with it. You see that? Cadmium yellow. Mix it a little bit. And I think we need to dabble in this, but I must make sure it's pretty light, because it is, otherwise it'll be looking all too green. We need some summery greens. So I'm just sort of tapping in here, which will cover some of these boughs. The light is catching the texture of the paint here. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. A little thicker paint is what I'm using. Stipple it on a little bit. Go for a bit of straight cadmium. I want a little bit of Naples yellow to that mix. I think we're gonna also help us. can see all the greens enveloping the boughs as we go. Let's put a bit of ochre with them as well, so we can have variety. Yellow in here. A bit of sap green. Bring the changes. And I've got some phthalo green as well, which is a very powerful green. Don't want too much of that. Let's cool that down a little bit with a little bit of umber, burnt umber. You don't want it. That's a little bit too dark, so we'll put a bit of cadmium yellow with it. Let's try and see if I can represent the reeds that are showing as well. Just over here in this section. I'll probably do that in the studio. I can take a little time over that. Right. Well, how's that looking? Looking a little bit more. Looks so dark on my camera. If I look, you zoom up a little bit. Yes, it's because you're getting the sun is coming across it, isn't it? Yes, in the dappled light. Oh, it's a shame. Right. Let's have I got enough green in there? Let's go lighten it up a little bit with some titanium I should say, titanium white added to our mixture. I think it's getting better. Right, squint my eyes a little bit. Let's see whether I've captured something of the essence that I'm going for. So a little bit of ochre in there, I think. A bit warmer colour, because it's playing on that. And also on this bough here, just catching the sun, it's poking, coming in this direction. Got some nice yellow irises, I think they might be, sticking out the reeds here. Some wild thing maybe, I don't know. There's a lovely yellow flower there, and one here. else I think we can do with that. Some flashes of bright yellow in our tree foliage as well, catching lighter sunshine, so get some more cadmium, titanium white, a little cadmium yellow, mix it together there and see if we can show a few of these leaves that are catching my eye. And out here, let's take our eye back a little bit. I should lighten that. Right. I need to get the reeds. I think I've got to really get a nice thin brush and see if I can introduce some of these weeds that are popping out this water here. So let's see if I can do that. Clean off my brush. No, we use a bit of phthalo, I think, for that, because will stand out a little bit better, I think, from the surrounding greens. How are we going to do that? Yes. That's coming a little bit. Yes. That's it. That's it. And actually in the middle distance there's a few reeds, but I've edited it out somewhat, although it's all too busy. Let's try to strike a balance of what you try to capture. I need to put a little bit of umber here to ground our vegetation. That's better. Well, I think we're coming more or less to the end of what I can do in one session. But if you like what I'm doing or you enjoy watching me paint, do subscribe and push the like button. And if you've got any comments, I'd be interested to hear them and have a little chat about it if you're interested in painting and art generally. But anyway, that's my efforts this afternoon in this wonderful nature reserve. I don't know if you can actually hear any of the wildlife squawking away. There's lots of ducks and things here. But they all are about. Okay. So a little bit more sun on there, perhaps. will define that bow a little better. And some on there. A little bit of dark coming down there though. Right. Some olive green here just to catch up the dark ground. The vegetation is always darker at the bottom because the sun is not getting there. So I'm doing that. But anyway, I think I'll leave it at that. And I may do some more work in the studio where you've got a little more time, but it's just a plein air study, just to capture the joy of where you are, being out in the sunshine along with nature and just enjoy yourself. Well, thanks for watching. Well, I've moved the easel into the brighter light, and hopefully you won't see so much dappled because of the leaves above flapping around here, obstructing the light. So anyway, I hope you like that. It's certainly a little bit brighter than it was in the dappled area. So I'm reasonably happy with it. I can always do better, of course. It's just a quick plein air study, just a couple of hours really. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it.